Today we've got a heart-to-heart video and I am so excited about this one because it is all about making friends. This is something that I didn't have 2 years ago when I first moved to Singapore, so it's a topic that I hold really close to my heart, and also something that you guys have telling me that you'd love me to talk about because some of you guys might be in a similar boat where you're moving to a new country or a city or a new school. So today's video is dedicated to all of you who may be struggling like I have. If you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Sherry and super nice to meet you. Just for some quick context, 2 years ago I packed my bags and packed up my life in Canada and moved to Singapore because I got a job opportunity. I had no friends, I had no family, I had no professional network, and so I was starting from ground zero. And so that's why this video today means a lot to me, because I have openly talked about in a public YouTube video about how I had no friends. It was a Friday night. I was feeling super miserable because I wanted to go out and about and explore Singapore, but I just didn't have anyone to do things with. So today I'm going to be sharing my ultimate 6 tips for making friends, and I try to order them from more passive, easy to do things all the way through to things that maybe require a little bit more effort. You need to be a go-getter, you need to put yourself seriously out there. Tip number 1 is to make friends at work. I know this sounds really self-explanatory, and it really is, because you are seeing these people Monday to Friday. I'm sure you will find some commonality with them, and it's just the easiest thing to do. You might find yourself, saying, hey, want to grab a drink after work today? And then before you know it, you spend like 3 hours together grabbing drinks. However, the reason why I started out with this one is because I think it's equally as important to deliberately put effort into making friends outside of work. So personally for me, and you may have a contrasting opinion on this, but if I see you Monday to Friday, chances are Saturday, Sunday, I kind of want to break from your face. So that's just me. But secondly is, sometimes you want to be able to talk about things that are not related to work, or you don't want to be reminded of work. So it's nice to have that, separation between work life and personal life. Personally for me, I think it's super important to just put effort into making friends outside of work. And that leads me to my second point, which is go to a workout class regularly on the same day of the week and the same time, and you will be meeting people inevitably. So I love going boxing and I love going to Muay Thai. I try my best to go to the same time slot only for consistency for my schedule, but also you'll find that there's people that also always go to the same, let's say, before work morning yoga class. And then before you know it, you see each other once or twice a week in the workout class. You end up chatting before or after class, and before you know it, you're like, oh my god, there's a really good breakfast place around the corner. We should go next week after yoga. It's the best way to meet people. You just see the same faces consistently, and also you already have a common interest because you guys both like going to that workout class. So obviously for this tip, it's more applicable to group classes rather than going to a regular gym and working out on your own, because some people don't like to get disturbed when they're working out. Just try to find some classes you can go to. I don't care if it's Zumba, I don't care if it's Muay Thai. I find that this is a really nice, organic, natural way to meet people, and it's just really lovely. The third tip I have is to go on Facebook. Facebook groups are a great way to meet people, and it's a mixed bag. Some people you don't get along that well with, some people you do. It's honestly, you need to just put effort into doing it. There are a crap ton of Facebook groups called like Singapore Expat Page, Singapore Expat Group, Singapore New Expats, Singapore Expat Gals. So a lot of different Facebook groups, and I just joined all of them. And I saw that some people were organizing bar hopping things, or some people were organizing brunch on the weekend. I will caveat and say, honestly, it can be a little bit exhausting going to these group organized activities, because to actually find a friend that you end up keeping for years to come, it's quite rare to come by, but you gotta just, put the effort into going to these events, and you never know who you'll meet, because that's actually how I ended up meeting one of my closest friends, Joyce. There was a Facebook group called like Expat Gals or something like that in Singapore, and someone was organizing a group brunch session. Most of the people that went to that I didn't really click well with, but there was one girl, Joyce, who I got along well with really, really, really well. And then we ended up getting dim sum the weekend after, and then before you know it, it's been 2 years of a friendship. Don't get discouraged if you don't meet people right off the bat on the first event. It happens. And also on the note of meeting people through online organized group activities, there's of course meetup.com, and if you watched my video about like me being lonely only in Singapore, you know that I actually tried to give it a go, but I didn't end up going to any of the events because I think meetup.com is very interest-based. So there's people that would go on like organized photography walk sessions or organized badminton sessions or volleyball. So if that's your kind of thing where you want to go do an activity together, you can go check out meetup.com. But I personally haven't used it before, so I wouldn't know if it was any good. So let's say you've already met maybe 1 or 2 friends. The fourth tip I have is to mix friend groups and get referrals, basically. What better way to meet new people than the ones that your friends are also friends with, because I'm sure they get along well for very similar reasons to why you guys get along well. So one of my favorite things to do is actually just to organize a lunch or a dinner. Really nice if everyone just brings someone new and then you end up all getting along really well together, and then you form a big group, and then now you can do big group activities together. So I really love doing dinners, or I would sometimes host, and I would just, invite people over so I can have my different friend groups mingling together. You never know who's gonna get brought into the picture, so it's just a really lovely way to just have a bonding session between your first and second degree connections. And on that note, if your friend is organizing, let's say, a birthday party and they are the only person you know at the party, I highly encourage you to go anyway, because you never know who you're gonna meet. And even if it's a little bit uncomfortable and awkward that you're going to something where everyone else knows each other but you don't know anyone else, just do it anyway, okay? Look, you can always go home early if you're not feeling well or you really don't want to do it anymore, but you never know who you're gonna meet. And I've met some really lovely people through my friends like that, and it's just super nice. The fifth tip is to download Bumble BFF, okay? This is not a sponsored video. I'm not affiliated with the app at all, but it is literally how I met some of my closest friends here in Singapore, so I cannot recommend it enough to everyone. I was honestly never the type to use these kind of apps, and I was very skeptical of it before as well, but actually, I have 2 friends that I met separately. They were on Bumble BFF, they met, they became such good friends, and they told me their success friendship story. I ended up biting the bullet and downloaded the app, and then I ended up meeting up with a bunch of different people, and it was such an interesting experience, okay? Even if you don't end up making any amazing friends out of it, I just highly recommend people to give it a go, and it honestly feels like you're going on a first date, which it basically is. Back in 2020 was when I had this app, and I actually scheduled back-to-back like friendship dates is kind of what I call them. So Friday night I had a dinner, Saturday morning I had a brunch, Saturday afternoon I had a different one, Sunday morning I had a brunch as well. Don't recommend you guys to like slaughter back-to-back, kind of like how you wouldn't want to do back-to-back dates. You don't want to do that with friendships either. I totally burnt out from going on these friendship dates. It was such an interesting experience because it's such a small world. There's a limited pool of people that are on the app. So it's inevitable that I might match with person A match with person B, but me and person B also match. So us 3 technically all know of each other. So on the Saturday, I met up with 3 Bumble BFF people in one go and had a group brunch. That's like a first date, blind date thing times 3. I didn't end up clicking that well with some of the people that I met. It's a hit or miss, right? You can't expect to be friends with every single person you meet, so that's inevitable. Then comes Sunday, I ended up doing a brunch with one of my BFF matches, Leia, and we got brunch, got along super, super well. And then through her, she organized a Wednesday ladies night the week after where she brought her friends that she met through Bumble BFF there. So it was just a massive group of like 10, 15 people that went to go get drinks together, and all of us got along super well. And so Leia was the reason why I deleted the Bumble BFF app. I just felt like I had a big enough friend circle. I wanted to spend more time being closer with the people that I already met through the app. Those friends have been with me through some of my most turbulent times in 2020. Of course, there was COVID, but I was going through my breakup, I was switching jobs, I was moving. So they have witnessed so many stages in my life in the last year. So it's just been super lovely. The most beautiful part about Bumble BFF, honestly, is the fact that anyone that you might chat with, you match with, you end up meeting in person with, you guys all have one thing in common, which is everyone is super open-minded. Because to download what is known traditionally as a dating app, because Bumble is a dating app to begin with, but to meet a stranger that they met online on a random app that they barely know anything about, to do all of that, you need to be pretty gutsy and pretty open-minded. And so I feel like that already is like a natural selection process for personality types. Highly recommend you guys to give it a go. I recommend you to give it at least like 3 to 5 first friendship dates and see how it goes, because it's always going to be a hit or miss, but I think you might end up meeting some super lovely people through the app. The final tip I have, tip number 6, is just reach out to people. So I know Bumble BFF is already like a little bit putting yourself out there. This one's even more proactive, okay? It requires some serious guts, but I promise you, it will pay off. Let me just share with you guys how me and 3 of my closest friends here in Singapore met. My friends Lily, Gintari, and Lara. We always joke about how we are friends by choice because everyone here cold outreach to each other, and that's how we met. Rewind back to last year. Basically, out of the blue, I was on Instagram and I got a DM request from someone called Lily, who I've filmed videos with already, and you guys may have watched those. It was like, hey, we have some mutual friends. I'd love to meet you and get like coffee or brunch together. And honestly, because we had some mutual friends in real life, I was like, okay, this is not a creep. So I ended up saying yes, and we went to go get brunch, and the rest is history. Lily and I literally see each other, what, like 3 times a week. I'm so sick of her freaking face. But her and I are super close. We hang out all the time, and so that's how Lily and I became friends. Gintari basically cold outreach to Lily on LinkedIn, okay? Gintari, I think, was new to Singapore at that time, and then she reached out to Lily. They ended up meeting up, and they became friends. And then I met Gintari through Lily because we went for dinner together. Gintari, Lily, and I, along with my other friend Leia, went to go get food, and we were all super dressed up. I think it was for Singapore National Day, and we posted a photo on Instagram. So Lara basically, I think, was probably looking at photos at certain restaurants and then came across our photo. And she thought, oh, these girls look so cool, or like, you know, they seem really fun. Lara DM'd Gintari on Instagram and basically asked to meet up. And then so basically, all of us ended up meeting up. And then before you know it, all of us hang out all the time. So this story with Lily, Gintari, Lara, and I, honestly, I think is a really good example of people just putting themselves out there and not being afraid to just reach out to people. What's the worst that can happen, right? Like, let's say you DM someone on Instagram and they end up ignoring you. Is that really so bad? Just reach out to someone on LinkedIn or on Instagram and be like, genuinely, I think XYZ is really cool. Or I think, you know, you did this event. That looks so cool. I want to hear all about it. Would you be open to grabbing brunch together or a coffee together? And it's just so lovely. And honestly, on the receiving end of it, you find it really flattering that someone thinks that your lifestyle is really cool or that thing that you did is really cool. I think it is a form of flattery at the same time of you trying to make friends. So highly encourage you guys to do that. A final thing I want to leave you guys with is sort of my most important change that I've made in the last 2 years that I think is worth noting. This mindset shift that I've had really allowed me to make friends outside of what I would usually be comfortable with. The point is, you want to make sure that you don't let things like age or whether or not you are in different stages of life, whether someone's married or have kids and the fact that you don't, you might be single and whatever. Don't let things like that get in the way of you making friends. I think in the past, I kind of let that become a barrier to me not making friends because I would always think in the back of my mind, oh, this person's a lot older than me. I don't think I have that much in common. I know it's something that I definitely struggled with in the past. And so you guys may have seen one of my videos where I talk all about how I hate talking about my age because I found myself in a position where I was always younger than people. I always felt like I was getting patronized. Don't get that mixed up with what I'm talking about here because that's more of, you know, age discrimination kind of thing in a professional setting. This is about making friends and it's not related to work. So try to think about it more positively where you think of the differences as something positive, you get exposed to new things rather than something that's going to hinder your friendship. I have friends that are much older than me, I have friends that are younger than me, I have friends that are my age, and they're all really, really good friends of mine. And I have 2 friends called Claire and Yui. They're a married couple, they've got 2 young kids, and when we hang out, we all hang out as a big group and their kids are there too, and we're all just, you know, having such a great time. I think being friends with a diverse range of people is actually really refreshing and it's really nice. Really try your best to just be open-minded and to allow yourself to be friends with people who are different. So yeah, I will leave you guys with those 6 tips, and honestly, I would love to hear how you met some of your closest friends, and if you guys got some really oddly specific tips or tricks that you use to meet people, I would love to hear it because I'm always keen to meet new people and make new friends, so I'd love to follow some of your advice as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I will talk to you in my next video. Have a great time making friends, putting yourself out there, and being gutsy. See ya! Bye-bye!